Okay, what I'd like you to do is start by warming up. Remember yesterday when I had everyone lift their desks up and then use their range of motion to make lines? Let's practice that again. That's a really great warm-up. And it's a good opportunity to use up a page that maybe you are not going to be doing a drawing on. So I've got this scrap paper here. And practice those straight lines. Remember to have your sketchbook on the right side if you're a righty, left side if you're a lefty. Feel free to stand, but you don't have to. And make sure that the edge of your page is in line with the side of your desk. So, as opposed to the framing work we talked about, you want to use free range of motion. So you're going to swing your arm back and forth to create a series of straight lines. You can hold your pencil this way like a conductor and make your lines this way. If you're really tall, this works great. If you're not, and this desk is really tall for me where I'm demonstrating, I'm going to hold my pencil this way. Awesome. Try to make it so you can get some straight lines that are parallel to the side of your page. Okay. Now we're going to take some time to talk about circular perspective. Okay? When I move this, you guys know I actually really love essential oils, as you can probably smell. This is a cylinder. We are going to learn how to draw cylinders today in correct perspective. Why is it important? Imagine if you're drawing a person and they're sitting on one of these stools that you're sitting on with a round top, and the circle on the top of the stool is out of perspective, but the person is drawn perfectly. It's going to mess up your entire drawing. Imagine if you're drawing a car, okay, and the car is on a street and there's a manhole cover. The car is drawn perfectly, yet the circle on the manhole cover is drawn out of perspective. We don't know how to draw it. It's the simplest thing to learn how to draw, but also the simplest thing to forget how to draw. Learning how to draw the basics is like really important moving forward if we want to create the believable illusion of 3 dimensions on a page, or depth. Right? So, kind of fun, witchcraft, right? Witchcraft is the root of craft. The word craft is witchcraft. Why? Everyone knows what craft is, right? Craft either in ceramics or craft in some form of art. It tricks the eye. So a magic thing about art is that we can actually create the illusion of something that's not there. Cool, right? So, in creating our illusion, we want to make sure that we can create something that's believable. And I'm going to get a cylinder. You might have this type of cylinder, or you might have a tube that used to be have tape wrapped around it, right? And look at what happens when I move this, when I turn this in space. What shape is that?
Circle.
Right, a circle. But what happens when I see it at a different angle? Look at this true shape. As a two-dimensional object, is it really a circle?
No.
What is it? It's an oval or an ellipse.
Oh.
The position of this determines how circular or elliptical this shape should be on a flat piece of paper to create the dimensions, right? So, how do we draw this shape? First, we're going to practice our circles. Ready? Here we go. What you want to do is hold your pencil like you would normally hold it. paper on the right side of the desk. If you're a righty, left side of the desk if you're a lefty. And we're going to use searching lines, so we're going to create many lines to arrive at a correct line. You don't have to bother erasing yet because this is just practice. What you can do, or what you will learn how to do after practicing quite a bit, is make light lines for your initial searching lines, and then eventually, once your circle becomes confident, get a little darker in there. So your better lines become darker, okay? So create some practices. Many times when we're starting to draw, we end up with a less confident circle. Maybe something like that. But then with practice, I promise, it's like this. I was skateboarding the other day for the first time in probably 10 years, and I was really nervous because my brain had to like make these connections that it hadn't made in a long time, you know, and so I had to remind myself, oh yeah, I'm going to mess up a little bit at first, but because I have small children and I want them to be like athletic or like do something other than sit on the couch, I need to kind of like go back to when I was younger and do some things that I haven't done in a long time. And I had to remind myself, oh yeah, my brain just has to make these connections again. And you know, that's why we get better at sports after practice. Your brain makes these connections. It's the same thing, right? So anyone is able to do this. If you think you can't, you're actually incorrect. You actually can. So, as amazing as it is, with practice you'll get better, just like a sport. So don't tear these pages out of your sketchbook. Please keep them here, because I want to see your practice. Your practice is important. And I love to see how you get better, because you will. Okay, now that we've practiced circles a little bit, I want us to try ellipses. Let me explain how you can create a perfect ellipse. We're going to create an illusion of an ellipse on a tabletop at the exact height that it's actually on. So, it's not going to be crooked, it's going to be straight, which means that there's a line of symmetry that goes across our ellipse. It doesn't matter if you have a short, wide one or a tall, thin one. What you're going to try to do is create an ellipse closer to this than like this. What happens if we're drawing an ellipse? Our lines might be straight, and our line of symmetry may be correct, but see how, and in some cases we might be going for this, but in this case, for this drawing assignment, we're not going to go for the tilted. We want to create the illusion of a three-dimensional form on a flat table. So we want our line of symmetry on our ellipse to be parallel with the top and bottom of the page. So this is our line of symmetry. We want to try to create it parallel to the top and the bottom of the page. So let's practice. We're going to use our searching lines. I'm going to move this keyboard. Keep the edge of your paper parallel with the edge of your desk. And it's going to take many lines. Here's my success. Here are some failures, okay? This is going to happen in the beginning, okay, you might get, you know, kind of like a flat pancake. Notice that the bottom of this ellipse is a smiley face and the top is like a frown, right? Here's my line of symmetry. You want both sides to be curved. That's why this shouldn't be flat. Another thing that you don't want to do, and you could be doing it and that's fine. You know what it's called? It's not a mistake yet. It's called you're just learning. You might have like these corners that are, this is like a marquee shape. You actually want, you don't want this to be a greater than, less than sign in the corner. You want a smooth curve. However, this should be the widest. So you don't want it to get, you don't want to have this kind of look. It should be a smooth curve. So we're practicing those. In any kind of drawing, if you take like an outside drawing class or a figure drawing, something like that, you're drawing people, you always draw, you loosen up with gesture drawing first. Like you practice first. It's like anything else. If you're playing soccer or football or field hockey, you're not going to just go in cold, right? You're going to warm up first. It's the same thing. Without reminding people, because I couldn't, the post-test last year, it was so cool. Students came in, and while people were getting their materials, I saw them. I saw them warming up. And it was so cool to see people like warming up before their final timed drawing, right? Awesome. Another thing that was cool in art survey last year when we were doing object drawing, right? Students got a choice. They got to pick what they wanted to draw, and I said, well, what basic shape is this? What basic shape is this? And if you look at the windmill in the back of the room over there, that windmill, look at the hemisphere up top, right? It's a half of a circle. Someone said, that's why we had to, learn how to draw. It's literally like a hemisphere, right? And it's just, basic shapes. The bicycle to the back left, see the little kid's tricycle, and it's red, and those are basic shapes all put together, right? Guess what that shape makes between the two wheels? That's actually the two back wheels together make a cylinder with the top and the bottom line erased. They have to be in line with each other cylindrically to be drawn correctly, right? And so when people started drawing in the room in art survey, they were like, oh, that's why. Because it's no lie. Drawing a circle, a sphere, and a triangle, or a cone, or a cylinder, and a sphere, and a cube, is not thrilling. But it's the bridge to be able to draw more difficult objects. So, let's talk about perspective. Depending on how high this is, you're going to see a different amount of this ellipse. So take your ellipse and do this exercise with me. So hold it in your hand and look at it at eye level, like right in front of you like this. Pretend there's an imaginary string going down the center of this ellipse and pulling up and down. Okay. and then move it up so you can see the bottom. The higher you go, does the bottom circle become more circular or more elliptical? That's right. The closer it is to you, it becomes more elliptical. When it's at eye level, you can't see the top or the bottom, and then you go down and all of a sudden that change happens and you can see the top. Further down you go, you can see more of that top circle, okay? So how do you make this thing look like it's not falling over? Like this. Lines that are parallel with the side of your page. Depending on how high your table is, or how low your chair is, or how tall you are, will determine what perspective your cylinder is actually drawn on. So if this is my eye level, okay, and I have my eraser, and this is above eye level, do I see the bottom or the top cylinder? I mean, ellipse. I can see the top if I can see the top ellipse if it's above me. Go like this to check. Can I see the top ellipse or the bottom ellipse? I can see the bottom. So what I want to do, if I erase this is now incorrect perspective. These lines should both be curved, but I can't see this line. Almost all of you have something to learn here, because on the pretest, I saw that most of you understood that you could see the top of your ellipse when it was sitting on your desk. Pretend this is sitting on a desk, okay? So you knew that you could see this top ellipse. The only problem that I saw, and it was actually quite often, is you forgot that you were looking down on this, so this was a smiley face. There were a lot of people, and no biggie, because that's why it's called learning, right, that did this. Or some were really like that. So can you see the believability in comparison? If you make two, so this ellipse and this ellipse should be drawn the same. We will have to practice. Then you're going to erase the extra lines. Okay. That don't work out. Do all your practice in your sketchbook. Oopsie. And I have this handout for you. You're welcome. On a fresh page in your sketchbook, I'd like you to try this exercise. So this is for 20 points. In your sketchbook, take this And we're going to work on this for the rest of the period. It says 12 by 18. I decided that this should really be in your sketchbook, so we changed it up a little bit. Draw a line across your paper. And you're going to draw 5 cylinders, okay? So this is going to be, and make a little eye here. This is going to be like your vision, your eye vision, what you see. And everything that's above the line is going to be above your line of vision. Everything that's below is going to be below. Don't worry about shading. See if you can draw 5 cylinders. If you need to practice, feel free to practice. One on the horizon line, and there's an example on the back, or the front, whatever you want to call it. One below, and one far below, one far above. So draw 5 vertically on your page. So this height is important. You are going to have to hold for this exercise. You're going to have to hold your sketchbook this way. Monday lab people, the only thing you're going to miss is practice. So for instance, we're going to finish this and make sure that they're right. For those of you that finished today that are Monday lab people, I'll check your work. If you don't finish today, you might have to finish for homework. And that's it.